Hello everyone, my name is Nicole Zimmerman and this is my web-based tutorial on Opera in video. So obviously this database covers Opera and a little statement from the database which tells you a little bit about what this database is for is Opera in Video contains 500 hours of the most important opera performances captured through video through staged productions, interviews, and documentaries. Selections represent the world's best performers, conductors, and opera houses and are based on a work's importance to the operatic canon. So there are 215 videos housed within this database, and as I stated before, that's over 500 hours. And one of the cool parts of this database, which I'll show you a little bit later when we click into one of the videos, is that there are English captions available for all the videos, which is super helpful because if you know opera at all, a lot of operas are not in English. So publication dates that are covered are anywhere from the year 1933 up until 2010, so definitely a wide range covered of all recorded operas in history. So I think this tool is, great for students who are maybe studying classical voice, just casual opera enthusiasts, people who enjoy going to the opera and listening to opera music. And I would also say any professors or researchers who are teaching a class on classical voice or perhaps who are doing some research or writing a paper on the history of opera. So let's get into a little bit more information on the database. So this database is from Alexander Street from ProQuest. And so now I can kind of click in here. So as you can see, let me just log back in. So this front page here, you can see that it's by Alexander Street from ProQuest, and you have all 215 videos right here that you can kind of just scroll through. So this is, great if you're just casually searching through, you're not really sure what you are looking for yet, or, you're berry picking a little bit. Perhaps you're researching, one specific composer, so you might want to just scroll through here. So if you want to refine your results a little bit, you click right here under filter your results, and there are a couple different categories that you can refine your search by. So we have subject here, as well as the publisher of the video, the person, which tends to be the composer. So, we have Puccini, Wagner, Verdi, the content type. So this is really helpful if, let's say you're not looking for a performance, but, a snippet from a documentary. That's really going to narrow things down a lot because there's only 17 documentaries available. So let's just turn that filter off. And then of course you can search by language here as well, which is again very helpful if you know that your opera is in Spanish. There's only one video available, so that's really going to narrow it down. And then finally by the release date, which I think is, interesting because you have these little markers right here that show how many videos are from each range. So you can see there's like definitely a higher concentration as you get closer to 2010. So there's not an advanced search option specifically, but let's say you were just to type in the composer Bach. So 15 videos come up right off the bat, which, that's, a pretty, already narrow result. But what is nice here is, so there isn't, a thesaurus of controlled vocabulary, but if I kind of get rid of this search here, and go back to the original 215, I can scroll through here or, click in Bach, and it will pull up the controlled vocabulary name for that person. So then obviously that narrows things down a little bit. And that's, really helpful for composers because, these names are a bit more difficult to spell. So as you can see here, I just typed in M-O-Z and Mozart came up, which again is helpful because that's kind of a mouthful, that name. And as far as keeping access to your search history, so when I was looking for that, I kind of tapped over here and it gives you an option to sign in, which, that kind of confused me a bit here because I am signed in through my Rutgers Net ID, but it does not appear that you can save your searches at this time. So let's just quickly click into a video. This one looks interesting here. Okay. So starting right away, what's great is, so like I said before, we can have the English subtitles turned on, which is really helpful because I do believe that this is going to be in German. And then also they have this really helpful button right here where if you click, you can turn on to cite the video. And you get this drop-down menu where you can decide what type of citation you would want. And with Rutgers, we would probably choose an APA style since that's what we usually use. And then you can remember for your future searches what citation style you like, but that's really helpful, if you're working on any sort of paper. And then, scrolling down here, you have, all the information about who wrote this, the composer, who performed in this opera, which is very helpful if you're talking about specific roles. But definitely pretty comprehensive list here. And so I think, this database is important because it's similar to New York Public Library's collection of professionally recorded Broadway performances, which, unfortunately is not available online. But access to professionally recorded operas like this is very important because, due to the pandemic, it's been more difficult to go in person to see live music and live theater. And I think even if you're just a casual viewer of opera, that it's important to be able to experience these works because they're an important part of history and our human culture. But also, I think it's a great tool for students of classical voice to see these performances that are professionally recorded and to be able to, instead of going on YouTube and trying to figure out how to cite maybe a bootleg recording of an opera, this is, a professional recording where everybody who contributed is being credited for their work, so it's great to be able to cite in a paper. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch this web guide today.